Hey, beautiful soul. Welcome to today's Soul Chat. So let's talk about rest and how our society has completely bastardized rest, okay? We live in this very fast-paced society, this society where everything needs to be done now. If it wasn't done actually yesterday, then you're probably late, where we have this continuous feeling of FOMO, continuous feeling of lack. And as a mom, we constantly feel like we're not doing enough, even though we're doing so much. We feel like we can't rest, because if we rest, then either the amount of time that we could have used for rest, we could have used for something else, or if we rest, then we are looked upon as not a good mom, right? We're looked upon as a failing mother. And in general, I feel in society, as women, rest is something that we feel like we can't have, because if we rest, then we're never going to be able to be at the level of success that we're looking for. So there's this whole like thought out there that like a woman has to work twice as hard as a man to get where she wants to get, right? I'm not saying it's false, and I'm not saying it's true. All I'm saying is that, well, if that's the case, then when is a woman supposed to rest? Because rest is important. It's very important. And I'm going to break down in this video the spirituality of rest. So not only is rest important, rest is sacred. And for a mother, rest is like your birthright. Like the sacredness of motherness, the sacredness of motherhood, the sacredness of motherhood is achieved when the mom is at her optimal energetic level, right? And in order for her to reach that optimal energetic level, she has to be in a balance between her doing and her being. And so I'm going to break this down for you in terms of energies and in terms of what we learned from spirituality in terms of rest. So the being state is the feminine state of us. And every human has a feminine and a masculine energy, okay? The being is a feminine and the doing is a masculine, right? When these two are in balance, that's when you feel aligned. And the way that we get into balance of these two energies, the masculine and the feminine, is by resting, actually, right? Because if you think about it, if you are too much in the being state, or if you are too much in the doing state, right? Either extreme is not going to get you to be completely aligned to you. So like if you're too much in like the being of like I just have to like go with the flow and not do anything, and like you're not really doing anything, you're just kind of going with the flow, that is going to get you into a mode of feeling like, well, I think I should be doing something, right? And then when you're doing too much, when you're kind of like burning yourself out by doing so many things, when the action is more than the actual state of energy that you're putting out there, right? You are then burning yourself out. So what is it that brings you into balance between both of those? It's this period of rest. And in ancient times, there was this whole ritual, this sacredness to rest itself, right? Sages and those that were looking to find enlightenment, yogis, and like those that were, going out to learn more about just how to become more spiritually aligned, spiritually enlightened, they went into periods of long rest. Though they were getting into the state of like light, and they were getting to the state of like light body, they were still resting during those periods, right? They were taking themselves out from society so that they could quiet the noise and they can have a period of rest so that they could actually go within and do the work to connect further to source, to spirit. And in these moments of rest is when we find our true relationship and our true connection with spirit, with source. So within spirituality, rest is not looked at as something that is a bad thing, or it's not looked at like if you rest, you're being selfish, or if you rest, you're being lazy. It's actually looked at those that quality within us that will bring us closer to our most aligned spiritual state, right? To our higher self. When you rest, you are able to listen and hear the messages and the guidance that is being given to you by spirit, by your spirit team, by your higher self, by the universe. You're able to actually like quiet yourself down, have the point of pause to actually see what's going on around you and where you need to just step back, right? And this is very important within our day-to-day life, especially in today's society where we're constantly doing something. We're like, if we're not doing anything, and we're resting, we're like on our phones scrolling, right? Which is not really resting because your brain is still firing. The idea of resting is to like take a nap or have a quiet moment of mindfulness where you're just doing a meditation or you're like focusing on your breath and doing calming, conscious breathing, where you can have your mind shut off to a point that you're able to understand and have the awareness, understand and have the awareness of all of the things that are floating around you, right? The energy that you are in right now, the energy that you want to be in, the feelings that your body is telling you, the messages that are coming up from your body, like all of these things come up when we can actually rest and have a moment to be quiet. And for a mom, this is really important, but because in order for us to be the best version of us as a mom and for our children, we need to have a moment of reflection. We need to have a moment of pause. Like if we're constantly going and going and going, and the energies are kind of like building up within us, we're only going to be reactive. We're not going to be proactive. And our children are going to pick up from that. They're going to pick up that energy of being that reactive kind of energy. And the last thing that I'll mention about rest is this feeling of shame and guilt that we put on to ourselves, or that we carry within ourselves when we're resting, right? So when you're resting and like your baby's crying, or you're resting and like you may think of like all the things that you could be doing, and like you carry that guilt and you carry that shame. So you're trying to rest, but you can't rest because the guilt and shame is so heavy within you, right? Guilt and shame, what it really does from like a energetic spiritual perspective is it just opens up the door within us of lack, right? And lack is the aspect of us, it's the energy within us that brings us closest to the darkness, right? So our goal spiritually, all of us, every single soul here, is to be closer to the light of the Creator, to be closer to spirit, right? And in order for us to get closer to the light, we have to be further from the lack, right? The closer we're to the lack, the closer we're calling in everything that brings lack. The feelings of us feeling not good enough, the feelings of us being inadequate, missing out on things, having FOMO, feeling like we don't have enough in our life, right? Like feeling like all of the pressures from a financial aspect or from a money aspect, feeling like we're not good enough as a mom and we could be doing better. All of these things are wide open in our life when lack is prominent, and shame and guilt open up that door. It opens up the door to lack in our life. So what do we do? What do we do when we feel like we're feeling selfish, we're feeling shame, we're feeling guilt? The first thing to do is to actually feel it, right? We're not going to bypass it. We're going to feel it. We're going to feel into these feelings and understand the deeper concepts behind it. And then from there, we're going to try to push as furthest as we can to just rest, to just surrender, right? And if we can't get to that point, it's okay. Have grace for yourself, have love, and try it again later. But I want to just really send this message of like, in 2026 and moving forward, as we are all searching for this new consciousness, it's important for us to also understand that as we're searching for this consciousness and as we're looking for this shift, it starts within us first. The shift starts within us first, and we need to have these practices of things like resting and things like understanding and becoming more aware of our own state. And so I want you to try this week. Let me know in the comments, and we will catch up again next week. I love you all so much. Peace, love, and light. Namaste.